This podcast is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
So, Otis, this is a guy that was recruited all over the place. Speaking to Colton Yarborough, class of 2026, defensive end, 6'4", 6'5", Durant, Oklahoma. Who did Arkansas have to fend off to get his commitment over the weekend?
Georgia, LSU, Oklahoma State, several others. He had 25 offers in all. He's this kid's legit. I mean, he's big time. I mean, we're talking about number one player in 2026. I mean, if you want some comparison, Luke Haas was number one player in Oklahoma when they got him. Those players turned out. Quinn Grovey, Keon Hatcher. We could go on and on about Oklahoma kids that have done well at Arkansas. And they went in there Saturday, got the number one player in 2026 and the number 5 player in 2026. So that is a safety from Lawton MacArthur. But that was a big day for Deke Adams getting Yarborough. That's the second weekend in a row that he's got the 4-star defensive lineman, Deke. Just incredible. Colton Yarborough is the real deal. They offered him in the 8th grade, if that tells you anything. I mean, 8th grade. And Arkansas was very consistent with him. That made the difference at the end. When they called up here, Deke took the call. I'm sure he had busy things going on, but he or Sam Pittman always took the call. And they brought that up, that was a factor, that when they called, one of the two always took the call. You know, Deke was FaceTiming them Saturday down there when they were doing the announcement. But I tell you, this Colton Yarborough still controlled trees, and for Arkansas to go in there and get him, that's huge. I mean, he's just one of the best players in the country in that 2026 class. I think Rivals has him like 117, but I think he is as good as anybody in the country. And I said that before he committed, so I'm not saying that because he's a Razorback. I said that for 3 or 4 weeks before he committed, that I felt like he was as good as anybody in the country.
And Otis, Durant's is close to Dallas, probably closer to Dallas than it is Norman, Oklahoma. So for
very close,
right? So for not just to beat out Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, and you mentioned Georgia and LSU, but I mean Durant's less than an hour from the Texas border. In fact, it's not. It's closer. It's just over an hour from Dallas. So you're beating at a lot of Texas schools too.
Yeah, they did. Baylor, all of them were in there. I mean, he talked about that. He said it was 3.5 hours to Fayetteville, and he said that was Georgia was a long way from home. This is the factor. This is home was not the factor, but it was a factor, if that makes sense. And 3.5 hours to Fayetteville, he said, was just a sweet drive. And I drove it Saturday down there and back, and it depending on construction, unfortunately Saturday. I know every year we go to the A&M game in Dallas, it's a ton of construction through Oklahoma. Saturday, there was only one little hiccup at McAllister on the way down, none on the way back. And so, you could make it in 3.5 hours in that instance. So, he liked that. That was a factor with him. But, Durant it's about as close to Texas as you can get. That's a good point because you can't get much closer to Texas than Durant is.
Yeah, I know it's...
and not be in Texas.
I know people that live or work in Durant, and they live in Sherman. So, another football hotbed. So, so you trade number one players in the state. Arkansas's number one player right now is committed to a school in Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's number one player is committed to a school in Arkansas. What do you make of that little footnote?
It's a crazy world, man. It just shows you I don't know anymore how much home state allegiance with the NIL and all the other stuff going on. Seriously, I don't know how much home state means to these kids. I'm not putting anybody down at all, but I'm just saying right now I think they're looking at other factors. And, when you've got NIL involved, travel away from home is not the issue that it was, 5-10 years ago? I mean, you could go and they're getting reimbursed for everything more than a scholarship. And it's a crazy world. I mean, recruiting's crazy. And people are saying, well, he's 2026, he may change his mind. I specifically asked him about that. That doesn't mean he can't. But he told me, he said, I'll stay strong. This kid really liked art. I mean, his parents, he's had relatives graduate from Arkansas. So it's not like Arkansas just came out of the blue to get him. I mean, he's had relatives graduate from Arkansas. His parents were decked out in Arkansas stuff. I feel like if there's anybody going to stay strong and stay committed, it's him. I mean, I really do. I've known the kid all these years. I mean, they personally invited me down there Saturday. That's why I went. And I've known him for years. I'd be surprised if he changed his mind because there's a lot. I mean, a lot could happen in 2 years. Yeah, I acknowledge that. But he is solid and like I said, he didn't really just throw darts to pick Arkansas. He said, I asked him, was this, when you're talking about the schools he had, 25 chances, 25 offers, I said, was this a tough decision? I really thought he was going to go on about how tough it was. He said, no, it's a very easy decision. But see what I'm saying? I don't see him changing his mind. That doesn't mean he won't. But I've done this a long time, and I read kids pretty well, and he seems pretty solid to me. I mean, he just said, no, it was a very easy decision. Honestly, guys, I've had very few kids tell me it was an easy decision when they chose a college. And a lot of them didn't have 25 offers, I can assure you.
Otis, do you feel like he's more committed to being a Razorback, or his commitment's really to Deke Adams and to Sam Pittman?
Both. I think both. I mean, obviously, Deke Adams and Sam Pittman are big, huge factors. Those are the big factors. They are. But I think he's committed to Arkansas, too. I don't know. I mean, if Deke and Sam left, then everything's going to be up there, obviously, anyway. Not just with him, but with everybody. But I feel like Arkansas, it's just like I said, he's got relatives graduating there. His parents like Arkansas a lot. It's a distance to home that he's comfortable with. There's a lot of factors going for Arkansas. There's a lot of factors because of Sam Pittman and Deke Adams, but there's also just a lot of factors favoring Arkansas as well, if you understand what I'm saying. I mean, there's other things besides those two that drew him to the Arkansas Razorbacks. He was visiting up here, and he's been up here, this staff has made him a priority. He realizes that. One thing he kept saying, they kept it real. He kind of said something about, he went to Georgia last week and visited too, right before he came to the Hogville hangout. Or no, it was a week before last, because he went to Georgia before the Saturday before last when he came to Hogville hangout. And he said something about Georgia he said, well, they did keep it real. He kind of caught what he was saying and changed it, but I felt like something, Georgia wasn't Arkansas. That was his words. Georgia wasn't Arkansas. He said Arkansas is Arkansas. He didn't say Deke Adams or something. He said Arkansas is Arkansas. So I really feel comfortable about Colton. One day he'll be a Razorback. I just think that and they're getting a great player there. I mean, he's not good. He's great. And I hate to hang out on a kid in the 11th grade, but and by the way, if anyone's interested in seeing him play, they play Grabbing on September the 13th, I believe. It's the Friday night before the UAB game in Fayetteville. So it'll be a good chance if you're up here for the Arkansas UAB game to go out to Grabbing and watch Colton play. Durant plays Grabbing that night at Grabbing.
Otis, we've asked you recruiting thus far. Fall camp, you've only got a first couple days to see what's happening. What have been some of your takeaways from the glimpses of Arkansas practice you've gotten to watch?
Yeah, I've been so busy with recruiting. I've seen some practices. I think that Taylor Green is really throwing the ball well. I think he's got a lot of receivers that he feels comfortable throwing to, not just one. Obviously, Broden made the one-handed catch the first day, maybe the first 4 or 5 plays, if I remember right, where that was the rave of the day that day, because Broden he snagged that one-handed catch. Tesla, whatever, however you pronounce his name, I'm sorry. He caught a ball similar to that Saturday night, one-handed catch. So the receivers, Satanas looked good. The defensive backs have played well. I really think it's going to be a good team, guys. When I say a good team now, I'm not trying to sit here and tell you they're going to be 10-2 and go to the playoffs. That's not what I'm saying. But I'll really be surprised if this team doesn't win 7 to 8 games. That's my thinking, that they're going to win 7 to 8 games. Now, September's going to be huge for them. We all know that. I mean, but I think they're going to be really good. And I think if you get to 7 or 8 wins, then war is possible. But I think September tells the story. You go to Oklahoma State, you got UAB we talked about here. Then you go to Auburn, and you play A&M in Arlington. If they come out of that 4-1 or 4-1, they're going to be in good shape. 3-2 they're going to be decent, and I think that you can come out of that 3-2 and get to 8 wins on the season. That's going to require some beating some teams you're not expected to beat here in Fayetteville, but they've got to play better in Fayetteville than they did last year. We'll all acknowledge that. I mean, they didn't play well at home last year, and you can't do that. And if that happens, then if they don't play well at home, it's going to be a long season. But you get through that first month, you've only got 2 road trips after that. One to Mississippi State, who may be the weakest team in the SEC, and then you've got one to Missouri, who obviously has Arkansas's number. So you've got to win some games along your way at home, and I'm counting on them doing that.
Well, Otis, we'll leave it there, man. It is a hot take Monday. That is a hot take as we close you out. Appreciate you jumping in, giving us some insight on Colton Yarborough and others this morning, and we'll chat again hopefully during football season.
Thanks for asking me, guys. Appreciate y'all. Have a good day.
All right, good stuff from Otis, Kirk, KNWA, and Pig Trail Nation.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.